Terminus Tavern Talk. Today I'm joined with today by Lex. Hello, Lex.
What's up, people?
So we're going to go over the usual suspects, VR and Pantheon news. Then we're going to talk about February's newsletter and the recently released game FAQ that has a lot of new features and information on there. Then we're going to talk about the 3 new members joining the team. And then obviously we're going to show off the recent screenshots that have been put out. And then we're going to go and cover other news. So let's go and start it off, Lex, with the VR and Pantheon news.
Yeah, so our first tweet was on February 22nd, which was, what's the longest you've waited for a mob to spawn or an item to appear in a video game? Personally, 3 days.
Yeah, I think about the same for me. I think we spent a good 3 or 4 days trying to camp a griffin in Thundering Steps and EverQuest 2. If I remember right.
So the second one was on February 27th. If you were transformed into a Pantheon character and locked in a zone of your choice, what would it be and why? And those of you that follow Pantheon and Visionary Realms on Twitter probably saw my answer to this. A halfling in Wild's End, of course. So I can, scout out my primary food source. Which, by the way, the GMs were, I don't know if it was a GM particular, or 2 people do the Twitter stuff, but they were actually going back and forth with me, and it was a good time.
Yep. I actually chimed in as well, so I got you back. I didn't answer that one because for me, with the zones released, I'd still like to see more. There's a lot of other zones that interest me, and before I've seen them, I can't really lock myself in there right now. So I stayed away from that one.
It's more wistful than anything.
Yeah. So let's move into the February newsletter, and we're going to cover basically the state of the game from VR that they talked about. So let's go start kicking it off.
Yeah, so a growing team. Let's start with team additions. In the last few months, we have brought on 2 new key members of the Pantheon team. Most recently, we brought on a new associate designer, Tim Warren, and I apologize if I mispronounced any names. He has been a fantastic addition to the team, working closely with Corey and I, focusing primarily on NPC population and developing that overall player experience of encountering NPCs in the world as you move from place to place. If you haven't had a chance, listen. You can go ahead and listen to the podcast. I'll go ahead and link that in chat for you. Go ahead and listen to that podcast to hear more of Tim's journey from fan to team member. We also added Robert Crane to the programming team as senior programmer, working with our lead programmer and CTO, Daniel Kren. Robert has been an invaluable addition, bringing a high degree of programming skill and experience, and has hit the ground running with several projects in tandem with Daniel, including the acclamation system and its corresponding UI elements. With these new hires to the core team, Pantheon's overall development is moving forward more quickly than ever before.
Yep, so that was the growing team growing basically, and there's been some recent additions. We'll get into that next. So the next part is streaming Pantheon. Since the last state of the game, we have done 2 streams on Twitch TV showcasing the ongoing development of gameplay systems and the world of Terminus. In June, we took you through Avendir's Pass to find the Pass Authority outpost. And I'll quickly link the video to that, which is there. Then beyond into Black Dagger Keep. From there, we entered the dungeon of Halnir Cave, where we discussed some early insights into the perception system, NPC dispositions, and other commitment to open world gameplay. In December, I'll quickly go and grab this link for you guys as well. We joined up with Co-Carnage for our second stream, and this is linked here as well. We opened it in the Halfling starting zone of Wild's End, where we revealed the first versions of 5 unique player character models: the human male and female, the Archai male, the the gnome female and the ogre male. It was also the first time for the public to see the beginnings of the shaman class in action. From Wild's End we moved to the human starting zone called Thronefast. From Thronefast we travelled to a village in Avendir's Pass to demonstrate an early example of the perception system in action, and then it was on to Halnir Cave for an action-packed boss fight. From there we ran through the orc-occupied snowy ruins of Avendir's Pass into the heart of the mysterious Union of Shadow, and for our final we opened the massive ice door and journeyed into Amber Fate. The response to both of the streams has been overwhelmingly positive and encouraging to us as a team. The world of Terminus continues to grow dramatically, and we hope to continue showcasing this trend of quality and progress in the Twitch streams that are soon to come.
And now for a taste of things to come. Let's talk about what is to come. What have we been working on since December? Designing and programming have been busy getting the first layers of our extreme climate and acclimation systems functional. Expect to see those two mechanics at work in the upcoming stream. We have also been fleshing out the design and implementation of a new player class, which will remain secret until we unveil it in the upcoming stream. I've got some gears rolling on that one. On the world building side of things, we will be unveiling 2 new zones soon. South Seoul Peninsula, which is also home to the foreboding new dungeon, Tower of the Reckless Magician. And finally, the next time you see Pantheon gameplay, you can expect to see marked improvements in NPC AI, especially in combat, casters who stay at range to cast. Anyone? We may even have time to get the first few iterations of the NPC disposition system in place. There are several more key items I'd love to mention, but I don't want to spoil all the surprises. As always, there are other general points of progress to note: audio, visual effects, additions and improvements, animation tweaks, new NPC types, hookups, and in the world, ongoing optimizations, etc. These things are ongoing and will be until launch.
The interesting response from that was the Tower of the Reckless Musician. I remember us talking about that the last time we streamed, and
yep.
Yeah, I can't wait. I just can't
New
wait.
Class! New class! Dispositions! Oh my goodness! We're going to see extreme climates. Now, I don't think they've ever actually said extreme climates before, so
I mean,
I'm kind of curious.
If you view the map and you look where this Tower of the Reckless Musician is to be, and just the name, the Tower of the Reckless Musician, it just screams craziness. I can't wait to see it. So onward and upward. It is an exciting time to be a Pantheon developer. There is great momentum and great progress being made on all fronts. The development team is growing larger and closer together. This is a truly collaborative environment. It is a thrill to watch more and more of the game take shape as we draw feedback from the community, discuss our ideas, share our progress, and shape this game. Thank you for making your voices heard and continuing to think and talk about Pantheon with each other and with us. It is also an exciting time to be a Pantheon fan, because the first round of access to Pantheon is getting closer every day. As always, thank you for the unwavering support. We look forward to connecting with all of you in the upcoming stream. See you in Terminus. Chris Dropper Perkins, Creative Director. So that's what we picked out basically to talk about on the newsletter. There's obviously a lot more. We'll link you the newsletter now in case you've missed it. There's in case you missed it, as I just said. And there's classes of Pantheon. They talk a bit about the classes of Pantheon and why they went in certain directions. And obviously the community spotlight from Kilsin is there as well. So let's go and move
Very good
on
read.
to the FAQ. I'm going to quickly go and link this to everybody before we get into it. So we've picked out a few things we wanted to touch on the FAQ to clarify some thoughts and questions maybe out there from chat and from the community itself. We thought that might be of interest. This is coming directly from VR, so this is basically how it stands currently right now.
Yeah, in the FAQ, we're basically just going to hit some key points some stuff that we might not been 100% on, but now we certainly are. So this is by no means a complete list of some of the amazing information that has been put into here. I highly recommend you go check it out.
Yep.
Okay, but we're going to hit here. Who is the targeted player demographic base for this game, and why? While some MMOs have been designed with the goal and desire to appeal to all gamers all of the time, we at Visionary Realms believe the future of MMOs is all about making more focused games, targeting specific gamers with distinct preferences. Pantheon is first and foremost a deeply social game. Players who desire cooperative play, working together as a team, and the shared experiences that result from playing with other real people to overcome challenges will enjoy Pantheon. Players who want MMO to be their home and to interact with communities and player-driven economies will find what they're looking for in Pantheon. Why? We feel that, at least recently, the MMO players who enjoy these elements have been orphaned. In fact, the Visionary Realms team feels they are a part of this orphaned group, and it doesn't take a lot of research to find countless articles, blogs, and posts full of players looking for the kind of experience we aim to offer in Pantheon.
Yep.
I know it's not going to please everyone, this answer, because there's different types of people, different types of gamers. But in the end, it's kind of like, you go shopping for a car. You don't buy a sports car if you need to take little Timmy to the soccer field and get groceries, kind of thing, It's a game that's going to stay true to what it wants. If you don't like it, that's cool. But if you like it, hey, have fun.
Well, the thing is, it's MMO. It explains everything. Massively multiplayer online. I'm not going to spend 50, 60, 70 bucks for a game, pay 15 bucks and just play solo. There's really no point, doing a subscription. Right. I'd rather play a standalone solo game. This is an MMO. This is what it's about. So another question we picked out is, will you be able to solo in Pantheon? Yes, while most content will be designed for groups, there will be typically also be content that is soloable. Some classes may solo better than others. Because that's always a question that's brought up. Will there be solo content? To a small degree, there will be.
Yes.
But the game's true focus is on grouping, social aspect.
Yeah. So you'll be able to probably farm, maybe get some cash. You could probably go on a little adventure by yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to get into stuff that's actually super challenging, that's at your level, you're probably going to have to go get a group, at least for the most part. I'm a guy that I like to solo a lot when no one's around, so I'm there with a lot of you solo players. But in the end, I kind of want to be forced to make friends again. I want to feel like I'm part of the world again. I don't want to just sit there off in the woods making my money. It gets real old real fast. See, will there be a trial of the game for me to play before I buy it? Yes. A new player will be able to download and play Pantheon to a certain level for free, with a minimum of impediments. It's important to us that players, especially those who might not be familiar with classical spirited MMOs, be given a chance to acclimate and truly enjoy the game. That said, some restrictions on these free characters may have to be made in order to avoid them being used by farmers, griefers, etc. And honestly, that answer can't make me happier. Not everyone's gonna, I don't like dropping 60 bucks, 50 bucks on a game if I don't even know if I like it. It's always bugged me.
Well, if
they're going to give you a chance.
If you remember back in the 90s, I think it was up to the mid-90s roughly, mid-90s, late 90s, you used to be able to play demos before you went out and bought a game.
Hands up! Who used to download demos?
Yep, me here.
All the time.
Yep, always. and that's it's completely gone from the market. And, it's understandable why. It is understandable.
It's a lot of work.
Why. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
And there's a lot of, especially with the internet today, a lot of foul stuff going on. You know who I'm talking to.
Yep.
Anyway, so carry on. So, will there be different rule set servers? We're definitely fans of alternate rule set servers, be they PvP, role-playing focus, hardcore focus, etc. That said, our ability to offer alternate rule set servers will depend, at least at launch, on how many servers we need and can support in total.
What is the Living Codex? The Living Codex serves as a spellbook to manage essential and transcendent spells and abilities. The first section of the Living Codex is labeled Essential, and will contain the host of standard abilities characters can naturally learn throughout their lifetime. So, pretty standard stuff. The second section of the Living Codex is labeled Transcendent, and is built for the scribing and intensifying of powerful prime scroll abilities.
Yep, and I remember us when they first opened up the spell book, and we, on the first stream I think it was, and they were talking about it. They might have mentioned it, but we never really picked up on it. And then they've added basically what Lex just read off. Basically, what are prime scroll abilities? That's one question we kind of figured that we would like to bring into this discussion today on the FAQ. So, what are prime scroll abilities? In Pantheon, many of the most powerful and exotic abilities can only be found out in the wilds of Terminus, from heavily guarded treasure vaults, the depths of dungeons, and from unimaginable locations. These most powerful abilities are written on legendary parchments known as prime scrolls. Spells and abilities are learned from prime scrolls and stored in the Living Codex as transcendent abilities. The prime scroll will only fill the top portion of each page. Underneath, there will be 3 empty sections that the player can mark with special items, which will further enhance the primary ability. These 3 sections are detailed below. So you've got the Seal of Amplification, amplifies the bonus modifiers for mana climax that affect the primary scroll's mana colour. We already seen that in action basically. More powerful seals will increase the bonuses. Brand of Resilience lessens the negative modifiers from mana climax that affect the primary scroll's mana colour. More powerful brands will decrease the penalties. And Signet of Synergy. Applying a Signet of Synergy to an ability will unlock different class specific synergy effects that can be used in combination with synergy effects from other classes, sometimes to awesome effect. However, the primary scroll ability must be capable of synergy effects, and not all are, so that's definitely interesting. Lex, we can't hear you, dude. You're muted.
Sorry, I had to run to unplug my stuff here. Sorry about the hum, guys. Like I said, I'm in the process of moving in the basement, as you can see. So yeah, but everything right here is more or less a show in itself. I mean, so here we got what seems to be like the basis of an ability modification system, which we knew that was going to be there anyway. Just we got a little more details on it now, and almost like a light combat combo system. I mean, granted, there's a lot more information that has to come our way, but I'm super excited to hear about that, all that information. So now your transcendent abilities, you can mold them possibly the way you want. So yeah, it's exactly what I wanted to hear. What kind of character customization will we see at character creation? There will be a standard set of options available compared to modern MMO standards. There should be a healthy amount of options for you to choose from, which honestly is something we've come to expect. Yep. Especially from this team. So there might not be anything completely ridiculous like Black Desert Online does, where you can like change your character's bone structure, which doesn't really bother me at all, but we're going to see enough to keep us happy.
Definitely. So this is another question that we thought we might bring up, and will there be bags and encumbrance? Yes, There will also be bags and also other high-level containers that reduce the weight of that which they contain. Because there's quite a few discussions going on when it comes to this, so we thought we'd bring this up and clarify the intent from VR's point.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's a lot of people who are going to be upset that the encumbrance system is kind of making its comeback. And if you look at it from my EverQuest experience, encumbrance was a big deal at first. You know, up until you were adventuring in a wider spectrum of zones, at which point it never became an issue because you just came by weight reduction bags. So, is it something that's going to affect your gameplay? Yeah, at first, but I don't think it's something you really have to worry about in the end.
Yeah.
Can I just craft and avoid combat? To some degree, although special crafting areas require some significant combat effort to reach. Players who are both adventurers and crafters will greatly benefit from being masters of both. That makes me very happy.
Yeah.
So now there's a reason to craft, even though I'm an adventurer.
Definitely. I mean, there's benefits for you being an adventurer and crafter, which has kind of been missing in past games. You could craft and adventure in all these games, but it seems to be that having been a crafter and an adventurer, you'll have a higher benefit from it.
Yeah, I mean, there's always been a benefit to crafting to some degree, but in the grand scheme of things, I've always felt that crafting has kind of been pushed to the side.
It's basically something to fill the void, fill the downtime. Basically, it's second rate, second class, and if you definitely read 6.0, guys, crafting is definitely very important in Pantheon.
Yeah, we've heard little tidbits of information here that makes it almost imperative to really find the craft that suits you. Now, you might not be a serious crafter like me and just craft in your downtime, but because you're not the max level crafter doesn't mean that you're not going to benefit from it like how it is in a lot of games. So I'm super happy about the information that I'm hearing there. I'd love to get more information on crafting, even though I'm not a hardcore crafter.
Yeah. So this is one we wanted to talk about as well, because there's always talk about this. When's alpha, when's pre-alpha testing, when's beta, etc, etc, etc. So, what is the ETA for external testing? The goal is that soon this year, 2017, the very first group of players, pre-alpha pledgers only, not alpha pledgers, will begin to be invited to help test. The game must be ready and have enough content. Then in alpha, we plan on having the entire continent of King's Reach ready for testing. We don't like to be evasive, but the timing must be right so our players can give us meaningful feedback, bug reports, etc. These earlier phases are traditionally tests rather than something along the lines of early access.
Yeah, this is something that is. It doesn't seem from this side of the fence like it's very important to worry about, but on the other side of that same fence, it is critical. Because just as an example, say you get into testing and there's only one town and that's it. As a tester, you're going to feel like the game's not worth anything. You're going to start telling people that it's, not what it's supposed to be. It's going to get negative statements out there, which is really going to hurt it. Even though they have a plan to add all this other content. So it's imperative that they have enough content for the amount of testers that they're going to have, and that through the period of testing, you almost don't want them to reach it all. Because if they do that, then it's going to feel like, oh, I've hit the end game. Like most games nowadays, you hit the end game, you stop playing. So this is very important for them, and I just hope that people realize how important it actually is. And here's one that is going to be a primer for Thursday's show. Are dungeons open world or instanced. All dungeons are open world. There are no plans for instant dungeons at this time. The dungeons will be very large to handle multiple groups of players. More shards or servers will be added if overpopulation becomes a problem. Now, this is something a lot of people are going to have a hard time with.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. It's just one of these things where it adds more immersion to it. To see another group struggling, it gives you a possibility to make friends because, oh, they run into a snag, then you go to the rescue, and all of a sudden you're all chummy. Granted, for every good benefit to this kind of system, there is, a downside. But you just got to be willing to get over the bad sides and just focus on the good. Even though this guy went and trained your group because, he's a real pain in the butt, focus on the good times that have happened and that are going to come because of this system. And just ignore the bad elements. And everything will be fine. Yes, camp check.
Well, it's down to us as a community, basically, isn't it? If there's
it
people
is.
acting out, then, we have to take care of it, period.
It is. It's absolutely 100% on us as the community. If we let people that act like that, not get any kind of, I'm not going to say punishment, but if they go uncontested in a way, then they're just going to do it again. And I don't know. I'm too old to be sitting here at a computer on my off time fighting with people that are probably got a hand down their pants over all of it. Just let me have fun, Like I said, I'm probably just an old geezer saying this, but in the end, everyone that's playing the game, all they want to do is have fun.
Yep. Exactly. And, if it goes to the extremes, there's always customer support. There's always a GM to contact or something like that. And then,
there is. I mean, I've seen some people that had bad reputations get thrown out of big raiding guilds because of their reputation. I've seen people try to get into public raids that I used to host, and I had a little black book from like the dollar store, and I wrote people's names down in it that I didn't like, and I basically said, "Nope, you don't have a good enough reputation. I'm sorry."
Yeah. So, what type of AI will mobs have? Most mobs have a variety of AI dispositions. For example, some mobs stand their ground while others flee. Some may go after certain classes or races. The tactics used against mobs, especially boss encounters, needs to involve a great deal of variation and avoid simplistic tank and spank behavior where possible. And this is absolutely a brilliant
imperative.
Answer. An imperative.
It's an imperative.
That's what we've been talking about on and off the shows, in Discord and whatnot for quite some time now, is the variation aspect of these encounters, that you can go at them and have different outcomes come at you time and time again, instead of just a tank and spank and DPS him down.
Yeah, I mean, nothing gets, like, just say, for instance, you really like a dungeon. There's a guard on either side of the door, and every single time it's the same thing. And I know I'm kind of blowing this out of proportion, but that gets boring after a time, because then then all of a sudden you start realizing you go in the dungeon and the first 3 guys do the same thing, and then the next 2 guys do the same thing, and then the next group of 5 does the same thing. That gets rid of the excitement, at least for me. Even if it's just a little bit of variation, that actually goes a long way for me. So this is going to make me feel like I'm not doing the same thing over and over, even though technically I'm running the same dungeon. I can't be more happy about that.
I mean, yes, the dispositions, I think there were like 6 or 7 or something like that, what they had. Once you get to know them all, yes, okay, then you've definitely spent some time in that dungeon. But alone this simple fact of going in there and every time having to think before you just run through and just attack, you have to prepare yourself. Each time is a new challenge. That's what I like about it. The fact that this comes into play gives us a bit of variance and makes us stand on our toes and keep a level head. So here's another question that Lex is going to bring up that connects to dungeons and instancing again.
Scroll down. Will the game have instances? Pantheon will support instancing to a limited degree, using it primarily for storytelling in a linear fashion, perhaps at the beginning of an epic quest. The vast majority of content, however, will exist in non-instance shared zones.
And I will quickly correct Lexa, perhaps at the end of an epic quest.
Oh, sorry, yes, at the end. My bad. Hey, I skipped a word.
You wanted the beginning, that's all.
Yeah, either way. Actually, I'm fine either way.
Yeah.
Because your storyline quest is something very personal to you, especially if each class or each race has a different one. It's very personal and it feels very intimate. Some people, if you're in a group, they want to skip through the cutscenes and just get on with their lives. Other people want to go, pop a bag of popcorn and just sit here and watch it like it was a movie.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to find a happy medium here. With instancing story, I think that's a great idea, because then, since it's your story, no one can step on your toes. Whereas if it's just a general quest, oh, my village is under attack, fine, other people should be able to help you. Because a village being attacked by goblins, anybody walking by can see it, kind of thing. So there's going to be a lot of naysayers on this one too. I'm just going to say, just give it a chance.
So the last question, does Pantheon have a day-night cycle? Yes, additionally, dynamic weather is planned. So this is just a few things that we picked out to talk about. There's definitely a lot of information. I'm going to give you a rundown of the individual places or areas that they touched on. So there's quite a few questions regarding the world, travel, technology, quests, PvP, payment model, non-player characters, NPC mobs, game mechanics, guilds, grouping, game rules, customer service, dungeons and raids, development cycle, death, crafting, classes, player characters, atmosphere, climate system, abilities and spells, and general. So there's actually quite a lot to cover. It's definitely worth reading through it to get some information. There's some additional information in there for sure for some people, and that covers the FAQ part that we wanted to cover. And now we're going to get into the 3 new members that joined VR recently. So I'm going to bring up the first one. So this is this was posted by Kilson in the forums on the 20th of February 2017. Dear Pantheon community, please join us in welcoming Aaron and Jacob to the team. Here's some background information to help you get to know them both a bit better. Aaron Thomas joins the team as a web developer. Aaron has gained extensive experience throughout his professional life. He's been an app developer, a web developer, a systems developer and a project manager. He is passionate about all gaming, whether it be AFL, footy, soccer, card games or MMORPGs. Aaron played a few MMOs starting with Ultima Online and continuing through EverQuest, Dark Age of Camelot, EverQuest 2, World of Warcraft, Star Wars Galaxies, Rift, ESO, EVE, Star Wars, Knights of the Republic, Final Fantasy 14, Guild Wars 2, etc. Now he is excited to be part of the Visionary Realms team. Jacob Williams joins the team as a web developer. Jacob was working as a senior level software engineer prior to joining the team. He focuses on the back end of applications, database architecture, server management and optimization. Jacob spent the majority of his formative years in Norath and started his MMORPG career with EverQuest when he was 11 years old. His first character was a dwarf warrior named Hamin. Let's make them both feel welcome. So it looks like they're going to be doing quite a lot on the web front.
Yep.
This could also help maybe push some changes for the forums maybe. I could see for the future there being a lot of revamping to the website maybe.
What I see here with the new team members and their just bundled experience here, I'm almost thinking player portal.
Also, yeah, definitely something like what EverQuest 2 had.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm definitely seeing that with with Jacob Williams there, having server management and all the back end stuff.
What about the application that they were talking about on Twitter, having access to the game itself?
Possibly.
So it could have something to do with it as well. So
very much so.
Definitely looks like they're going to be making a lot of changes with these two guys on board, especially in the web development section. So
they've certainly got a very strong foundation team here for anything like that. Easily, it'll easy to be for them to accomplish a player portal or a mobile app. I think they won't have any issue at all.
Yep, definitely.
Very strong team. So the next one that we have was also posted by Kilson on the 22nd of February. Dear Pantheon community, please join us in welcoming Robert to the team. Here is some background information to help you get to know Robert a bit better. Robert Crane joins the team as a senior programmer. Robert has been writing games professionally since he was 21. He's 45 now. And has been a senior developer for most of his career. He focused a lot on tool development, but also excelled in rapid game prototyping, and his focus in Pantheon will be to divide and conquer tasks with Daniel Kren, our CTO, among other things. He's a big fan of fantasy novels and, of course, loves gaming, whether it be creating his own games or playing them, and he now looks forward to helping us work on Pantheon. Let's make him feel welcome.
So we definitely welcome those three. And as you can see, the team is constantly adding new people, so it's constantly growing and moving forward. This is going to be, this is huge. I mean, another senior programmer.
Well, with Robert, he's done a lot of tools. Tools are very important for making games, because not all of the tools that you need are out there. So you need someone who can make those tools to make things just super easy for your team to do stuff like throwing zones together or quests. Yeah. So that's great. The fact that he's also he's very schooled in rapid prototyping for games is awesome. That means if there's a system that they're like, hey, I wonder if we can do this, he can throw something that's not perfect but good enough, and you can try it out, and then you can see like, yeah, let's just go ahead and polish this up. Let's expand upon it and keep it in, or it's just not working. It gives the team a lot of power here to really modify the game as they're designing it, basically, because now they have the ability to quickly try out new ideas. Whereas we don't know, maybe since they didn't have anyone that was schooled in rapid prototyping, it could have taken them months just to be like, oh, does this inventory system work versus this inventory system? Whereas with Robert, it could have been like in a week, maybe figure that out.
So let's go and bring up
it's not really that fast, but I'm just saying.
Lex likes to exaggerate a bit. Yes,
just a bit. Only always.
Because of his background. Because of his background as well. So let's go and bring up the latest screenshots. And while they run through, me and Lex will be off the screen. You can enjoy these images, and I'll try and keep Lex as quiet as possible.
He's threatening to beat me.
No, I'm not. He beat me. I got the scar to prove it. Yeah, so these are the latest screenshots over the past weeks since our last show.
I can't get over the archive, all his striations and the colors,
the light. Amazing. Oh. That looks really good.
It almost makes me want to make an archive, especially if the customization is you can change those patterns. I'm not so keen on this end up on his chest and back, the up arrows.
Yeah, the arrows.
Yep, and the gnomes are just crazy. Almost need some classical music playing when we do this.
Yeah. And the ogre's come along pretty well.
I am super happy with the ogre.
Liking the design, yep.
Granted, it is a mirror from what they're showing on the website, but that's always a good place to start. I mean, I'm almost positive they're going to be able to wear plate and not just like leather and bone and chain. So it'll be very interesting to see how the plate for the ogres evolves with their cultural style.
Yeah.
It looks like they're in Wild's End there.
Yeah, they seem to have a lot of Wild Ends images. They must like it then.
Well, it is a very visually pleasing area.
Oh yeah, definitely a good choice to get people interested in, definitely.
Yeah, just look at that scenery.
Didn't come through quite right. It's coming up now. The image is a bit messed up. But hey, still looks great.
Messed up, it still looks freaking amazing. I mean, just the draw distance alone is going to give you some very amazing, like, panoramic views and such.
And the thing is, if you look at most of these screenshots, lighting effects, additional art, concept art, and design art hasn't been added yet. That's still to come. All the lighting effects, etc., visualization is still to come to this, and this is just the raw basics of the world itself, the design itself, without all this artistic endeavors yet. So that's still going to come into the game, and when that does, these shots are going to look phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious if they're going to show us another starter zone, which one it's going to be next.
Oh, good question.
Because I mean, I'm with Glenn here. I want to see. Well, I want to see them all. Don't get me wrong, but the Dark Mirror will be very, very interesting. The dwarves, I'm not super interested about because of my EverQuest background. I look at them and I see the Coldane, from Velius. So I know I'm going to be proven completely wrong by VR, but it's just what I see, So it'll be interesting to see just how wrong I am.
There's actually quite a big discussion going on the dwarves at the moment. A lot of people seem to be interested in the dwarven architecture and would actually, I think there's quite a bit of support to see them be more towards the Coldane. And I'm definitely in support of that. Coldane for sure. Yep, definitely.
Yeah. In EverQuest 1, the Coldane was always that dwarven offshoot race that you really wanted to play. But it just never happened for whatever reason. So I really wouldn't be upset if they turned into almost like a mirror of what the Coldane were. It wouldn't bother me personally, but like everything we've seen, it's always been something familiar with a twist. So even if they do mirror the Coldane from EverQuest 1, or even EverQuest 2 for that matter, it would be interesting to see what kind of twist they actually put on it.
So let's go move into other news, and then we can do maybe 10 minutes of AMA or something like that. People can ask us anything. We'll see what we can answer. So let's go into other news, and this Thursday coming up on our show, this will be the final show with Leksur for the next 4 or 5 weeks, because the poor guy's moving away. And,
break out your champagne.
Yep, so he won't be around for a good 4 or 5 weeks till he gets set up again and everything. He will try and make it on the 23rd to at least be in chat and whatnot when we celebrate the 1 year of streaming Voice of Terminus show. Anybody's welcome to join us on that day as well, by the way. So come in and just chat with us over the past year of VR. We're just going to look back at the year and see what has come through from Pantheon. So on March 2nd, this Thursday, we're talking about dungeons. So that's going to be a really interesting discussion. And
something that's very, very near and dear to my heart.
One more thing to add as well. If you guys missed it, Nick Walton put up his February roundup again. I'm going to link that to you guys in chat. All the information covered in a document for you guys to relive, watch, save, whatever, and definitely check it out. A lot of information there, so definitely check that out and give the guy a follow if you haven't already. Yeah, so now
it is the document to keep an eye on right now.
Definitely, yes, definitely. So we've got about 15 minutes roughly. If you want to ask us any questions, we can try and answer them. So we'll give you now time to ask questions, and then we'll see what we can answer.
Yeah, I'll skim over this document real quick, see if I missed anything.
I can quickly go and answer one question from Glenn already. Do we know when the next stream is? No, we do not.
They did mention June.
There's no set date.
No, I think they said in the FAQs that they were aiming for somewhere around June, I believe. Don't hold me to it.
I didn't read that.
Oh, I saw it somewhere. I'm almost positive.
But if I were to speculate, we have Easter coming up, so it could be around that time, maybe. So Lexus for June. I say around Easter, as a little Easter present for all of us. We could even have a pool going or something like that.
Purchase your squares now.
DT Swish, no idea. No idea. Would we like to do that? Definitely.
Will they? Let's see here. Will they invite you guys to do a playthrough with them like they did with Co? Unlikely.
Yeah.
Very, very unlikely. Simply because the reason Co Carnage got it is because, well, he's one of the largest streamers out there. So just taking it from an exposure point of view, it was a smart choice.
Definitely.
To get him.
Definitely.
Also, he has a video game company developing the first video game, so it's kind of like this new studio and a new studio kind of brothership kind of thing. So that didn't surprise me at all. Will we? I mean, let's face it, we don't do this for the followers. We do it for the love of the game.
Yep. And
we just don't have the numbers to really justify them putting us in there to that extent. Should they ever decide that it would be worthwhile, then you can bet the farm that we'd jump on it.
Definitely.
There's no way around it. But fact of the matter is, for them, it's not really the smart choice to make. Unfortunately.
Definitely. We're just not there. We're here to entertain the community, entertain everybody out there. Even with the shows on Thursdays, to help out, spread the word. But for that level of
we couldn't really help the game a whole lot. It would be more helping us than us helping them, and that's not the way it should work. Or at least that's not the way I would want it to work.
No, definitely. I mean, if they invited us, like already said, we'd jump on board without a heartbeat. But
I just like, here, take my money.
What money?
But if we're letting you do it for free, take it anyway.
You're buying a house, dude.
I know. If we're letting you in for free, take my money anyway. I'm just so happy. Oh, it's nice to sit and daydream about it, though. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, remember that tweet back in, I think it was June last year, where somebody on Twitter asked Brad if he's ever going to connect with the VoT.
I don't even remember that one.
Yeah. Soonish.
Soonish. Trademark.
Yeah.
But he's a busy man, so you can't hold that against him.
Nope.
Everybody there, even.
And it's like you said, we're not big enough.
Yeah. We're not.
And we're not.
We're not a multi-game organization here. We're focused on Pantheon because that's what we're passionate about. It would be different if we were like about all games in general and stuff.
Or
then
if the game was already out for like 2-3 years, we were doing the show for 2-3 years, because we are completely dedicated only to Pantheon. When Pantheon gets out, the VoT show will still carry on every Thursday. We'll be streaming the game out almost exclusively 7 days a week or 5 days a week at least. We'll try to, from different streamers, etc. And that's all we're dedicated to.
I'll be doing it. I'll be streaming it every morning. Well, maybe not every morning. I gotta run a business too.
Which, if any, MMOs do you currently play? Well, for me, the only MMO that I'm currently active in is EverQuest 2. We're playing EverQuest 2 just to pass some time. And what about you, Lex?
I'm still an MMO gypsy at the moment. I've been playing a lot of emulated stuff like Warhammer Online emulated server, Vanguard emulated server. Been playing around a little bit with Rift and Elder Scrolls Online, but for like 20 minutes at a time, because for me, in a lot of those games, I really need somebody to play with me to kind of give me a goal, a light at the end of the tunnel that I can shoot for. And when I'm playing by myself, I just fart around and I get bored. So, seriously playing? Nothing.
Well,
Not a thing.
Another question for you, Lex, from Glenn. Mm-hmm. What type of environment do you think the Scar will live in?
Barren, almost desertish. That's what I'm guessing. If not a full out desert. Because they almost are given the description like the Ravager of Planets kind of thing. So I can see like everything just being stripped bare, the ground being dry and cracked, if it's not a desert. From the looks of them, the Scar, just going by their design, it doesn't look like that they're exactly, jacket friendly. So I can't see them coming from a colder climate.
Yeah.
That's probably why we won't see Scargle for quite a while, because honestly, there might not be a whole lot to see because it's just so war-torn.
Because they live under a rock.
And volcanic, that's another good one too.
The Scar, they basically grab on a hole in the ground, and all you see is like a little bump with a few horns on it, and you think it's a horn bush.
They work like trapdoor spiders. You walk by, they come up and hug you and pull you back under. I need to aerate my lawn. Quick, roll around in my yard.
So come on, guys, throw some questions. Otherwise, we're going to have to end up the show. We have to end it.
That's fine.
That's fine with me.
I'm going over for beer and wings, so we can end it. And everyone can be jealous.
Yeah, so anyway, Thursday's the dungeon discussion.
Yep.
And
bring your questions.
Bring your questions, exactly. A lot of stuff to talk about. You already heard some incentives of what we're going to talk about. Instance versus non-instance is definitely going to be a discussion that we'll talk about. Because
I know what I'm for, and I know not everybody is for it.
Right, question again from DTS Swish, or DT Swish. What class will you be playing in Pantheon? Well, for me, it's going to be a battle between Cleric and Druid.
Scaradalo, baby, all the way. Oh, yes.
So, Glenn asks another question. Other than Darkmere, what races are you interested in, Yarn? For me, from the interest point of view, I can't believe I'm saying this, would be the dwarves. But I've always, in all my MMOs, I've always played a human. Always have. And this time around I picked the Darkmere because they were just so out of this world and different. They remind me quite a little bit about Dark Elves like kind of thing. They've got a Dark Elvish touch. But Darkmere is definitely that. Dwarves are the next that would interest me. And I will have a human regardless. You can all hit on me. Humans rock, they're cool.
No, they don't. They'll be my bank mule.
And then Aiden asks, do you think classes will have different mounts? Classes will have different mounts. We talked about that, didn't we?
We did. We touched on it.
We touched on it on the idea.
I believe there's going to be more racial mounts than class-specific mounts.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well.
That's my feeling. It would be very, I don't know. It'd almost be just a lot of extra pain for the dev team to do the class-specific, because if you look at the classes with the race mixture, an ogre warrior having the same mount as, say, an elf warrior, they might not line up the right way because the ogre is just so big it might not look right. So it would be a safer bet to design your mounts based upon the race to start.
So DT Swish asks, and Smoke already answered, will the game allow add-ons, mods? That's actually in the FAQ. The UI will be fully customizable to some point and skinnable. And like Smoke already said, no macro building, there'll be no third-party programming involved, etc. But you will be able to customize the UI and skin it how you want.
From a programmer's point of view, it sounds like they're willing to provide you with information to display, and then you get the ability to display it any way you want. And if you're an add-on creator like from World of Warcraft or something like that, versus where you don't really have the ability to manipulate anything from the add-on, which honestly is the best way to do it.
I'll have to put up the class chart to answer that question again. At this point, what races do you think will be good, evil, neutral, assuming they have those factions? Well, dwarves definitely good. Darkmere evil. Trying to think.
Yeah, that was a shocker.
Yeah, humans.
The Darkmere were evil.
Humans neutral, so they can go both ways. The Scar evil.
No, they're good. Why would you ever think they're evil?
Archai neutral. That's what I want to aim for. Elves neutral. Halflings. Not too sure on them. I'll say good. Just for
halflings.
Just for the sake of it.
Oh, the halfling lore.
Without reviewing the chart.
Yeah, the halfling lore almost leads you to believe that they'd be neutral simply because that they have good and bad factions.
I mean,
if I remember correctly.
Like Smart, you said as well. You know, the 9 classes or 9 races, 3 good, 3 evil, 3 neutral, definitely makes sense. Definitely a way to view it as well. So yeah, do you think there will be 3 for each? Definitely. Like Svarty said, it's presumably possible that there's going to be 3 of each.
Yeah, it would not be a reach to guess that that's what they would do, simply for balance. Because say you do have a PvP server, okay? If you have races unbalanced, then you potentially have a population imbalance due to popularity. So going 3, 3, and 3 makes perfect sense. Even just to keep your butt safe in the event you do a PvP server, which they said that they plan to do. So that's where my money is.
Aiden, wouldn't it be cool if the endgame chat came from the Toon's mouth so it would seem like the Toon is talking? That's actually doable nowadays with ease.
World of Warcraft did that from day one, but it was only in just say chat. It wasn't in any other chat. And you'd see them moving their hands like they were talking. I mean, that's how all that machinima is done. And I think it's a lot of extra work, granted, for the animators and all the designers. But with how big that machinima, I can never say it right, how big that actually became thanks to World of Warcraft. Yeah. But it almost seems like it's worth the effort just to try and get something like that out there.
Yeah. So I guess we'll wrap it up for now. We're definitely going to do a show where we'll try and answer questions. We'll just do a Q&A show or something like that at some point down the road when Lex is back. Join us Thursday for the dungeon discussion. Bring your thoughts, your ideas with you, and we'll go through them as we do the show and touch on certain areas on dungeons. So with that, guys, thanks for joining us, and we will see you all on Thursday at 4 PM.
Stay safe, people.
Yep.